Imagine entering a supermarket for a normal day of shopping, carrying a simple list and a calm mind. Suddenly, the floor shakes, water crashes through the doors, sweeping people off their feet. You scramble to stay above the rising waves, but the flood isn't the worst part. Something dark moves under the water, gliding silently. Something fast, something deadly. In seconds, an ordinary building becomes a deadly trap. A fight for survival unlike anything you've ever seen. The story begins near the Australian coast, where Josh, a skilled lifeguard, patrols the shoreline. The sea is familiar to him, a place of work, responsibility, and instinct. He knows how to read danger in the waves, how to react instantly when someone is in trouble. On this day, he spots a swimmer struggling far out in the water. Without hesitation, Josh dives in. Every action is precise, every second counts. But the ocean is unpredictable. Despite his skill and courage, the swimmer drowns. Josh holds the man as life slips away. Failure is crushing. For someone whose identity revolves around saving others, this moment changes everything. Haunted by guilt, he quits his job and distances himself from the sea, unsure of who he is without the role that defined him. Meanwhile, a coastal city goes about its day unaware of the impending disaster. Inside a large supermarket, customers walk through aisles, focused on everyday concerns. A young couple quietly shopping, a store manager ensuring rules are followed. Tina, Josh's former partner, now a police officer, entering on routine duty. Two criminals planning a robbery, believing they are in control. Each character is preoccupied with their own problems. None realize how quickly their lives will be upended. Outside, the ocean behaves strangely. The water recedes farther than normal, exposing unusual parts of the shoreline. Seagulls scatter. Humans, however, notice nothing. Life seems normal, but the signs are clear to those who pay attention. Then, in an instant, nature unleashes its fury. A massive tsunami races toward the city, crashes through streets, demolishing cars, tearing apart buildings. The supermarket bears the brunt of the wave. Glass shatters, shelves collapse. People are thrown into floating debris as water floods the store. Chaos erupts. Within moments, the supermarket transforms from a familiar safe space into a flooded trap. The ordinary world has been destroyed in minutes, and the most dangerous threat is yet to appear. Survivors cling to shelves and counters, assessing the damage. Some attempt to calm themselves, others panic, searching for exits that are now blocked by water and debris. Josh takes stock of the situation. His lifeguard instincts return despite the fear and guilt weighing on him. He scans for immediate dangers and starts guiding others toward higher ground within the store. But he senses something else moving beneath the water. The first glimpse of the sharks is subtle, almost unreal. The water carries predators as well as danger. Survivors realize that the fight for life has just begun. Not only must they escape the rising water, but they must also navigate a new threat lurking below the surface. One man, terrified, attempts to swim toward a safer area. It is a fatal choice. The shark lunges with incredible speed, creating chaos as water churns violently. He pulls survivors out of the water and instructs them on the first rule of survival. Do not enter the water. Those who survive now understand that fear itself is a dangerous predator. Any sudden movement could mean instant death. Despite the weight of guilt he carries from his past, Josh begins to take leadership. He observes the shark's movements and behavior. He notices patterns. Sharks react to sudden motion. Blood in the water attracts them immediately. Vibrations in the water signal prey. Josh instructs survivors on using floating shelves as rafts and tying ropes to stabilize movement. Every decision must be precise. There is no room for error. Teamwork becomes the difference between life and death. Doyle, one of the criminals, is injured and bleeding. Instead of cooperating, he begins making selfish, risky decisions that endanger everyone. His impatience and pride spark arguments, escalating tension. Other survivors, exhausted and terrified, some panic, others cling desperately to Josh's instructions. The film shows that, in extreme situations, humans can be as dangerous as the predators in the water. Josh devises strategies for safer movement. Shelves and floating debris are chained together to form stable rafts. Ropes tied across aisles allow survivors to pull themselves without splashing. Even small mistakes, like dropping a piece of debris, could attract sharks. Injuries are now critical hazards. A minor cut can bleed into the water, drawing predators instantly. Energy must be conserved. Everyone must follow instructions. As the group regathers on higher shelves, the situation worsens. The water level keeps rising, and electrical cables hang dangerously close to the surface. If the water reaches them, the entire store could become electrified. To prevent that, someone has to reach the power control room and shut everything down. Josh volunteers, knowing the risk. The others try to stop him, pointing out his injured arm and the shark circling nearby. But there is no other choice. Steven, the store's security guard, understands the building's layout better than anyone. Without hesitation, he volunteers to reach the control room. Josh warns him of the shark's movement, but Steven knows there is no alternative. Using floating debris for cover, Steven carefully enters the water. The others create noise at the opposite end of the store, distracting the shark just long enough for him to slip away. Steven reaches the control room and successfully shuts down the electricity. The lights die instantly. The deadly threat of electrocution is gone. But the shark has already changed direction. As Steven exits the control room, the water around him shifts. Collapsed shelves block his return path. Debris presses against him, pinning him in place. Steven struggles, trying to pull himself free, but the pressure of the water and wreckage holds him down. Panic sets in as he realizes he's trapped. Tevin struggles to free himself, but the water forces him down. The water fills his lungs as his strength fades. Steven drowns, unable to reach the surface. The survivors wait, hoping to see him return. But he never does. What happens next inside the flooded supermarket? Who survives? And what's still waiting in the water? That continues in part 2. And subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.